Hi, I'm Matt. Welcome to Hitchcocks Motorcycles. Today's video is the start of a mini-series that we are going to be showing you on how to maintain your own motorcycle at home. In this first video, we're going to be showing you how to perform an oil change on our 350 Classic. This will, of course, be relevant to any bike in the J-Series platform, the Bullet, the Meteor, the Hunter, and the Goan Classic. What will we need to perform this video? Well, tools-wise, it's quite simple. We're going to need a 5mm Allen key, an 8mm spanner or a socket and ratchet, a genuine Royal Enfield oil filter or service kit, and we do provide multiple different choices of service kit on the website. We're going to need some oil, and for this we'll be using the recommended 1550 semi-synthetic, and we always recommend Silcoline here at Hitchcocks. And we're also going to be changing our oil filter cover to one of these snazzy little items that we've had made here. These will improve the aesthetic of your motorcycle, and they're available in black or silver, and the part numbers will be listed below for you. Right, so let's get into it. First of all, we need to get our motorcycle warmed up. So let's head outside and get the bike fired up. So we'll shortly be getting into it, but I was wondering why, or thinking why would someone want to do their own home servicing when there's a readily available dealer network? Well, for me, I always service my own bikes. It gives me a pride of ownership that I wouldn't experience if I didn't look after them myself. And it also gets me regularly looking around my motorcycle so I can see early if there is any issues, and hopefully I'll be able to tackle those. Okay guys, so we've obviously moved back into the workshop. We've got the bike nice and warm. If you're doing this at home, I'd recommend you doing it on a flat surface and putting your bike on the centre stand. But obviously we've got the luxury of having a ramp, so up we go. Of course, this is the J-Series engine unit construction, so that we only need to drop the oil from one location and that will remove all of the engine oil. Of course, it's the same oil that looks after your gearbox. That's what we're going to need our 8mm spanner for, or our ratchet, and that is directly under the bike, just under here. And this is where your oil filter is housed. This is where we need our Allen key, and it's held on with these 3 bolts here. Now it's time to drop the oil. Now it's nice and warm. For this, we're going to need a drip tray. Okay, so now I'm going to drop the oil. I'm going to use a ratchet, but of course you could use the 8mm open ring spanner. But yeah, we're just going to go straight for it. I'm also wearing gloves, by the way, because we are dealing with dirty engine oil. It's always better to protect your hands. And just a bit of a top tip here, guys. What I would do is put a little bit of pressure in the middle and just crack them both off with the ratchet. And then generally I'll undo them by hand so it's nice and even, and that just saves you dripping oil everywhere really, and just makes it for a cleaner job. Right, so now we've drained the oil out, we need to remove the filter gauze that's underneath here. These can be a little bit tight, so you may need some pliers to get them out, but there we go. We'll just leave that to drain for a few minutes and we'll take this away and give it a good clean. You need to be checking in here to see if there is any debris or anything like that that we need to get rid of. This one's actually pretty clean, but we'll still give this a good clean up before we put it back in. Right, we'll leave that to drain for 10 minutes. Go and have a cup of tea and we'll come back. Okay, so now we've enjoyed our cup of tea and allowed the oil to drain properly, it's time to remove our oil filter. For this, you're going to want to move your drip tray to cover the side of the engine here. And there's no two ways about it, guys. This can be a bit of a messy job. When you're trying to remove it, it would be ideal if you've got an old rag or two, or one of your wife's best t-shirts, just to make sure you don't make too much of a mess. So with our 5mm Allen key, we're just going to undo these. There is a spring on the oil filter, so don't be surprised if you feel some resistance. And that shows off our oil filter. And there we go. Although Royal Enfield don't mention or list it, we do find you can drain a small amount of oil from this gallery. For the purpose of being thorough, I'm going to show you how to do it on this video. For this, you will need a 17mm spanner. Okay, so now we need to replace our plugs. In your service kit, you will have a replacement copper washer, like so. And then that just needs to go back in. Okay, so before we put the cap back on, we just need to replace the gauze that we've cleaned out back where it was originally. So line him up, he'll just slot in and then just give him a good firm press and he'll be home. Okay, and just before we put our oil drain cap back on, in the service kit we give you a replacement O-ring, which we need to remove and then replace. So just to show you guys, this does have 4 little divots on the O-ring. I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but that's how you relocate it. Just give it a nice even pressure all the way around. And then taking our 2 bolts, we'll put this back on. Now just give it a good clean up. So now we've come to the time where we need to refill our motorcycle, but first of all we need to soak our filter in our clean oil. So take your measuring jug and just pour out your first litre of oil. Just give that a couple of minutes to soak. Okay guys, whilst we're letting our filter soak in its oil, now's the time to worry about the O-ring that's on your oil filter housing cover. These are included in your service kit, so now's a good time to replace it. We're not actually going to do that today because we're replacing this cover with one of our Royal Enfield engraved ones, and these have the O-rings included. Now we've let our oil filter soak for a while, I'll just show you the differences in either side. This side is going into the oil filter cavity, and this side is where the cover goes with the spring. Okay guys, so obviously taking care because this is wet with oil, we need to just place that into its compartment there and give it a firm push just to seat it. And then it's just the reverse of what we've done previously and just replace the oil filter cap. I'm just going to go around and check everything with the torque wrench, but if you're confident and you've been doing this for a while, you may wish to do these nuts and bolts up by feel. If you do want the genuine Royal Enfield torque settings, they will be listed in the description below. Yeah, we'll just wipe off the excess now, and there we are. Doesn't that new cap look fantastic? Okay guys, now the oil filter is safely in place and everything's torqued up neatly, I'm just going to drop the bike down a little bit so we can refill the oil. Perfect. For this we need a decent quality funnel, and we need to remove our oil filler cap just here. Right, okay. We're now in a position to refill our oil. I've put my funnel into the oil filler cap here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 1.5 litres straight into the bike. A fill up after an oil change, according to Royal Enfield, is 1.7 litres. So what I'm going to do is put 1.5 litres straight in and then I'm going to top up accordingly with the remaining oil to make sure that we're bang on the level. Then what I'll do is I'll run the bike up, allow it to sit for a couple of minutes, check the oil level again, and top up if necessary. Okay, so we've put our 1.5 litres in, and you can see the two marks on the engine casing here. This is your low level and this is your full. You can see on the camera that we're just under full, so I'm just going to top up accordingly to get that bang on the full line. Okay, so we're nearly on the full line. I'm just topping up in tiny little increments just to make sure we get it absolutely spot on. So it looks pretty good to me. All that remains is to remove our funnel and tighten up our filler cap. And now what I'm going to do is just give the bike a quick wipe over, make sure we're all clean. I'll then run it up and then we'll check the level for the final time. So what we're going to do now is just run the bike up for about 30 seconds to a minute, allow the oil to settle afterwards for around 1 minute to 2 minutes, and then we'll check our level, and if we need to adjust it, we will do. We've given the bike a couple of minutes after running it up, and our level is just about on the minimum, so we do need to top it up a little bit. So I'll do that now. Right, that's our oil change complete. Our level is absolutely perfect, and we've given the bike a good wipe down to make sure we are good to go for the road. I hope you found that video interesting. If you do have any questions, please feel free to leave them below and I'll be trying to answer them. Or if you do have a more in-depth question, please feel free to give me an email or give me a ring. We'll add the torque settings that we've used in the description below, and we'll also add a link to show you all the parts and the accessory cover that we fitted here today. My name's been Matt. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.